Joe Biden shows the world what conservative Americans have known for over a year. Is Kamala Harris being set up for failure? World leaders say the silent part out loud at the G7 summit. And the Clinton body count keeps on growing. Welcome to Trap Pod. It's time to wake up. Okay, at the G7 summit of world leaders, Joe Biden, he's basically been a disaster. He's shown the world exactly what conservatives have been saying for the last year, and that's that he's not all there. He is a senile old man. He's 78 years old. He should not be running any country, much less the most powerful country in the world. And the other world leaders are noticing it and commenting about it. So a couple things that happened. One, Joe was speaking to the press, and he was talking about how he was going to strong arm Russia, because he had said going into this summit that he was going to confront Putin and all this stuff. And obviously that did not happen, because Joe Biden he's a beta male if there's ever been a beta male. Well, I guess for him, he'd probably say beta person, because he doesn't like, using male or female these days. And Putin is an alpha male. So we knew that wasn't going to happen. But Joe goes on and starts speaking about, issues in Syria, but he keeps calling it Libya. So he's trying to speak on what Russia is doing in Syria, and he keeps saying Libya instead of Syria, and he's just stumbling through everything, and he's like, I really shouldn't be discussing political matters right now, but I will anyway. Which he continues to do lately, is he's been saying, I really shouldn't say this, and then he proceeds to say it, when his first inclination was right. Shut your mouth and don't say what you're about to say, because the only thing that can come out of that old, insane, senile man's mouth is bad shit. And because he's batshit crazy. So he keeps saying it, and you think he's going to take his own advice, and then all of a sudden he'll just start rambling on, saying things that just make us look weak and pathetic as a country. After that, he also tried to correct Prime Minister Boris Johnson of the United Kingdom. Boris Johnson was basically introducing all the countries. He said South Africa, and then Joe chimes in. He goes, "Don't forget about South Africa." Gives like a thumbs up, like he's, he made sure to get South Africa in there. And Boris Johnson had to awkwardly correct him in front of the entire world and all the other world leaders and tell him, Joe, I just introduced South Africa, which prompted Joe to give a stare similar to this, which seems to be really common with this old senile idiot at this point. Just this blank stare of he just basically looks like he has no idea where he is at any given moment. The last thing, so he had a conversation with Boris Johnson also prior to all that stuff happening, and he was telling Boris Johnson, he was talking to him about, remember when we talked about funding and research and stuff with COVID when the pandemic started in 2020, and Boris Johnson reportedly basically looked at him like, what the hell is he talking about? Because Joe Biden wasn't president at the time, and the conversation never actually happened. And this has happened a couple times with Joe also, where he has forgotten that he's only been president since January 20th of 2021. He keeps referring to things that he supposedly did in January, February, April, all the beginning of 2020. And it's at this point just absolutely just sad and pathetic, but it's just crazy. The second story that has kind of come up that really has not been covered and won't be covered is that Kamala Harris is reportedly basically being set up by none other than Jill Biden and Joe Biden, but mainly Jill. So what is happening? Here's the rumor. So when Kamala Harris said the other day, when she was asked, she was told, the reporter said, "Ms. Harris, you haven't been to the Mexico border." And her response was, "Well, I haven't been to Europe either." Now, at first, everyone just thought, what a stupid comment that was. Like, what does Europe have to do with the border crisis? But what's coming out now is that the reason she said that was as a slight to Jill Biden. So Kamala reportedly was sent to Guatemala as a punishment. Basically, they sent her there to basically just make her look bad. While Jill, who's actually secretly running our country right now, from what reports are, is she's basically pulling the strings of Joe. Jill went to Europe. Kamala was supposedly very upset about that. She felt that she, as vice president, should be in Europe. And she's probably got a point. Now, she was sent to Guatemala instead, and Jill went to Europe, which supposedly, from what rumors are, that it has made Kamala Harris just irate. Now, this whole thing stems back from the debates. So supposedly, when Kamala Harris basically inferred that Joe Biden was a rapist, and where she basically said she would believe, the lady who accused Joe Biden of rape, and then she basically called him a racist also. Supposedly, well, not supposedly, Joe Biden admitted this. She called Kamala Harris a effing bitch when she said that. So Kamala Harris got wind of that, because we all got wind of it. We all know that happened. But Kamala Harris supposedly took massive offense to her calling her an effing bitch. So now those two just absolutely hate each other. Okay, so the other rumor is that the reason she was made border czar or whatever, or put in charge of the border instead of just a lower level, peon, is because Joe Biden and Jill Biden know that is a losing situation. So they actually sent Kamala Harris there to set her up, because they know she's gunning for Joe's job. Neither of them like her, and that's basically their way of sabotaging her. So that's something to look out for in the future, because that is going to be a disaster. Third thing is, world leaders have started saying the silent part out loud about Joe Biden. So the Labor Party member was quoted saying at least Trump was attentive. So basically saying that Joe Biden, like he can't even focus. He doesn't know where he's at. This person went on to say that he's failing to keep up with G7 events. He can't follow the note cards. And then Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was overheard saying to a staff member to expect Kamala Harris to take over as president by the end of 2022. So these leaders are noticing that Joe Biden's not there anymore, and that he's basically just a puppet, and it's concerning to all of them also. So it's not just the conservatives in the United States that are creating this conspiracy theory. World leaders across the world at this summit are noticing Joe Biden's he's a lost cause at this point. Last thing, the Clinton body count continues to go up. I don't know if a lot of you have heard about this, but the Clintons have had a lot of death around them. We've had Victor Reiser II died in a plane crash. Mary Mohane, was shot and killed in a Starbucks. Vincent Foster committed suicide. Seth Rich was murdered. Jeffrey Epstein, we all know Jeffrey Epstein, committed suicide, supposedly. We're starting to find out that probably wasn't as clear-cut as they wanted it to be. Edward Wiley committed suicide. Jerry Parks was shot 10 times exiting a Mexican restaurant in Arkansas. Shot 10 times and killed. And now today, it's reported that Christopher Sine, the reporter who broke the Clinton-Loretta Lynch tarmac story, the one where everybody was wondering, wait a minute, like Hillary's under investigation, these two meet, and then all of a sudden, poof, everything is just gone and out of the public eye. Well, he committed suicide today. So, as we on the right, us crazy conspiracy theorists have always said, Cross the Clintons, you might just end up dead. Thank you for tuning in to Trap Pod. Time to wake up.